Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
A while back, I said Lamar Jackson wasn't good enough of a pure passer to win a Super Bowl. But this year, he's definitely stepped up his game. He's a much better passer than he's ever been before. And the Ravens smacked the hell out of the 49ers weeks ago. But like good old Dwight Smith said, the game is not decided on the field.
Lamar Jackson has definitely improved his game. No question. No question, this guy stepped up his passing game. In the past, I said he wasn't good enough of a passer. They are the best team. They have the best defense. They smacked the 49ers. Destroyed them. They knocked Purdy out. But like good old Dwight Smith said, the best team doesn't always win. The game is not decided on the field. He's making really good throws this year. The Ravens could knock Purdy out like they did the last time, but will they? I'm seeing a lot of piss poor mistackling, and it looks intentional because this league is rigged. It's registered as sports entertainment.
Yeah, the Ravens, they smacked Brock Purdy. They didn't hit him as hard as like the good old days of the NFL. He took some shots. If you rattle Brock Purdy, you beat him, just like Fairy Boy Brady. You rattle him, you beat him. I'm going to show you a clip of Brock Purdy getting hurt against the Ravens, and he was hit hard, but they could have hit him harder.
You're going to see hits that wouldn't be allowed on Brock Purdy or that stupid Brady or Pat Mahomes. You thought the hits on Brock Purdy were rough. Wait till you see these. Right in the head, no flag.
Part of football is still the most important part.
Right on Ron Jaworski's jaw.
When you have two teams that know what they're doing and two teams that have great athletes on both sides, and usually the game is decided by the team that hits the hardest.
That was the late Don Shula. That's how the game was then. That's not the way it is now. NFL is basically basketball on grass or soccer now. So watered down.
Before you're playing in football, you've got to be able to move from spot A to spot B to hit somebody. Now, once you get there, you want to get there with the most velocity, the most power, and the most impact.
Yeah, hit him with the most power. Right in the mouth. No penalties. No flags back then.
The rules for playing the game of football allow for a tremendous amount of collision. And this is a collision sport, it's not a contact sport. You lose the battle of the hitting, I'm not sure you're going to win the other battle either.
Tell you what you gotta do I can watch you. You walk around out there with your finger up your and you ain't hitting the damn phone. Name of the game, man, is hit.
It's still a physical game. Let's face that fact. Always will be. That's what makes people want to play this game, because it is a physical game. It's not touch tag. Let's call it what it is. It's violent and it's physical.
When a guy gets hit and his headgear pops off, that's part of the game. And that's what people pay money to go see, the great hits.
Kansas City high-flying offense led by the great Patrick Mahomes. I mean, how would you guys try and stop Tyreek Hill? Let's say this was back in the day. It's a Monty Kiffin-led defense. How do you think you guys would defend cats like Tyreek Hill, and of course that fine tight end of theirs, 87, Mr. Kelsey's pretty dangerous too.
Well, we played cover 2, so it ain't much you would change. You always got somebody over the top. Our key was we had defensive line pressure, man. That's, if you ever notice in the NFL, the teams who win is who get the most pressure on the other team's quarterback.
Well, without question, and you guys were able to do it back in the day, and the Buccaneers might be able to do it against the Chiefs' offensive line right now.
I'm going to talk about Joe Montana. Now, this guy, I think, was the original Golden Boy. There's an article from November 1986. This is some evidence that Montana was protected by the referees. I'm not saying as bad as that stupid Tom Brady or as bad as that fraud Peyton Manning, but watch. Washington Redskins coach Joe Gibbs said yesterday that defensive end Dexter Manley used bad choice of words when he said he wanted to ring Joe Montana's clock. Why not? It's football. You're supposed to want to ring his clock. Why not? Why not, Gibbs? All right. But this was back in '86. I was only 10 years old in '86. Since the early 2000s, it's gotten like really, really, really soft. And it's not a real football anymore. But they always protected this Montana. Dexter Manley says, we're not going to play patty cake. If I get there, I like to ring his clock. I don't see anything wrong with that. I wouldn't want to hurt the guy. Yeah, exactly. You're not out there to hurt him, but you want to punish him. You give him a nice, clean hit in the body. Why not? But why do you want to protect Joe Montana? Yeah, if he's hurt, don't play him. Yeah, that's all. If Bill Walsh, who's the coach of the 49ers in those days, doesn't want us to ring his clock, don't play him. Yeah, I agree. Am I going to pass a good lick because he had surgery? He says no. I mean, what the hell? Yeah, exactly. Walsh said that's just part of the game.
Mike Perrier is a liar and a clown, man. Look at this. What the hell? What a sick looking son of a bitch, man. He is sick in the head. And here's proof that that scumbag is a liar. Alright, here in 2005, for some reason this article didn't come out until 2018. In the summer of 2005, 5 months after the Eagles lost to the Super Bowl, NFL Vice President of Officiating Mike Perry visited Eagles training camp. The Eagles believe that the Patriots had gotten away with a lot of cheap shots on quarterback McNabb, and they said they had a video to prove it. John Harbaugh says at first he didn't take it seriously. Then the Eagles special teams coach and now head coach of Ravens. Then we showed him the tape. He could not believe the shots Donovan took out of bounds and late in the game. Now, that's what he said. He couldn't believe it. All right, now going to another article. Mike Perry calls out Vic. Nothing to see here. Move along that line, scumbag says. Fox Sports analyst Mike Perry has been a busy guy of late. Perry was apparently offended by Eagles quarterback Mike Vick. Vick's assert when he said he doesn't get the same calls as other quarterbacks do. He thinks Mike Vick is lying, or just when he's the lying piece of garbage. Now he mentions McNabb here, going back years prior to this. But that other article, according to John Harbaugh, he saw the tape that McNabb was getting hits that wouldn't be allowed on other quarterbacks, especially that fraud Brady. And Perry acts like that doesn't exist or whatever. He's a lying piece of shit.
Adding money to the program. So, and people were like, why are you saying this? You used to play. I'm like, yeah. I said, me speaking about this really goes against me. Like, my annuities and my portfolio is in the NFL. It's under NFL. So if they go down, my stuff goes down. But I feel like you guys' souls mean much to me, so you can see the bigger picture. So you don't have to argue it Wednesday at 3 p.m. with a fan that's a Patriots fan. Y'all guys cussing each other out. And it's not even, it's just all scripted. Like, you want me to say, it's like, I can't tell you if I was scripted when I was playing it, because I'm underneath that matrix where I'm just going, running my plays. But when you look at it outside of it, you see these calls that are being called don't make sense. You see the penalties that are happening. Like, so I want people to detach from making NFL football their idol and worshiping it all the time. And I'm not trying to get people to pull back a little bit and see the bigger perspective in life.
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum.
H.G. Wells talked about it too. He talked about arenas. He says arenas could be put up across the world for sports, for instance. Now at that time, sports was something that children, school children were into. Adults became adults and got onto adult things. So it was unimaginable at the time that people could actually believe that there's even a need for adult sports and entertainment, never mind having arenas built across the world. But he said we can do this and foist basically a sports culture for the males. Using a tribal system, we're all tribal to an extent. That's why we even bother to vote for a tribal leader. This is well understood. That's why we're supplied with these leaders. And because the average man...
He begins to throw the Christians to the lions, and he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world. All to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. and they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad.
We're all tribal to an extent. That's why we even bother to vote for a tribal leader. This is well understood. That's why we're supplied with these leaders. And because the average man was to become more disengaged from his own destiny as the expert class arose, it was decided that the males would get their outlet, basically, gradually becoming helpless as males, through sports. Therefore, they'd have a tribal team they could identify with. They could cheer them on as though they were winning. In their own personal lives, they were getting nowhere. They were getting disenfranchised, in a sense, as experts took over decision-making for them in all kinds of fields. So this was psychology at use, planned before they even implemented the sports. Sports used to only come out on Saturdays, and over a 10-year period, it gradually came on every night of the week. Until today, we have even sports channels, sports. So now you see guys who are sitting home, who are basically powerless at work. They have bosses who are sitting home, who are basically powerless at work. They have bosses. They're powerless on the roads. There's police and traffic wardens and cops watching them. They have no means to feel strong, and so they tend to watch sports as a substitute. They project themselves into a game which they never participate in, but as long as their team wins, they feel something's happening in their life that's positive and it's successful. It's a very good substitute for many, many things as far as the elite are concerned.
What are you hearing from the powers that be? Anything?
They just want me to go away right now.
We've spoken to them, and they don't want to talk about it either. They have nothing to say.
But they're not denying anything, and they're not refuting any of the facts.
Let me talk about some of the major charges. And I just jotted down a few that. I mean, you're saying, for example, virtually every team owner gambles on football teams.
Well, I'm saying that no fewer than 26.
That's
NFL team owners have documented ties. Past and present NFL team owners have documented business ties to either the gambling community and or the organized crime syndicate. I'm also saying that no fewer than 70 NFL games have been fixed.
Now that's pretty rough stuff. You're saying no fewer than 70 NFL games have been fixed. You mean the outcome, the point spread, what?
I'm saying the points were shaved and thereby fixed. Yeah.
How does this happen?
Well, I first got into this about 1983. Vincent Persani, who is the head of the Michigan State Attorney General's Office Organized Crime Division, told me, if you're going to do a book about the NFL, Dan, you're going to have to get into this guy, Don Dawson, because he was fixing games. We knew it. I went to my friends and my sources at the Internal Revenue Service, the Organized Crime Intelligence Division. They said Don Dawson was fixing games. I went to the FBI, the Organized Crime and Racketeering Section of the Justice Department at Strike Force field offices. Everybody told me what Don Dawson was fixing games. At that point, I had enough evidence to print that allegedly Don Dawson was fixing NFL games. He was a major bookmaker in the Midwest. I then went to Dawson. I tracked him down. I jumped through all kinds of hoops to interview him. And when I interviewed him on about the 7th or 8th interview, he admitted to me that he had personally participated in the fixing of no fewer than 32 NFL games.
How does that happen?
He liked to work with the quarterback. He would go to the quarterback would come to him and say, I need some bread. What's the line on the game this week? And the bookmaker would say, you guys are favored by 6 points. And then the reply was, we're not going to cover the spread. And basically that was it.
Now, do you name players?
Oh, sure. I name players. And also in 1979, I go into the specifics of 8 fixed games that were allegedly fixed by 2 referees who were investigated by both the FBI and the IRS. And I list the 8 games on page 308 of the book.
Yeah.